much for being here today. I am really excited to share some information about setting goals to help you guys reach your financial goals. A new year gives us a natural reset. We're going to kind of go back, take a deep breath, reflect on what we did last year, think about what we want to do for the new year. So it's all about today is giving you some tools so you can make those goals a reality, reach them whatever they are, how to turn intentions into steps, into goals, and how to prioritize what matters most to you so you can build systems that actually help you make those goals a reality. So no matter where you are in your financial journey, having realistic, achievable goals is going to help lead to stronger financial habits, will create brighter futures, and have financial freedom. That's what we all want. Freedom from financial stress. Wouldn't that be nice? So we are committed to supporting you and we're excited to help you start the new year off strong. So why do we start this at the beginning of the year, right? It's a great time to look at what you've done in the past year. It's a great time to set goals. The employer benefits, we're going to start off with that one. Our benefits start off in the new year, right? So we have a brand new set of flexible spending account. We have a brand new amount for our insurances, our taxes. So it's a good time to just like stop, take a look at where we at and think about where we want to go. We also have this recent holiday spending. I don't know about you guys, but holidays are always really tough for me. I want to give, 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 give. So it's really hard for me to kind of pull back and think about what my goals are. So I can kind of go back and reflect on what I did in October, November, December, get that number, and I can create a plan for next year. So maybe my November and December aren't as difficult and I can get through that a little bit easier, right? We also have a full year's worth of information, January through December of 2025. I can go through my statements, my credit cards, look at where I have spent money over that year, look at that total amount, and again, be able to create a plan for the next year that's more realistic. I can look at, did I go on vacation? Did I have any auto expenses, home expenses? What did I spend on gift giving? And actually have that number and have a realistic plan and include that into a smaller monthly amount that I'm setting money aside and make it easier to achieve that spending that I've done before. I'm probably going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead and review that and have a plan in place. And again, it's just a natural start, right? Brand new year, people set New Year's resolutions. I want you guys to create resolutions that are going to matter, that's going to kind of last. We actually have this thing called the fresh start effect. This is a psychological effect that was recognized in 2014, given this name. And it was introduced as an idea behind you have this clean slate and we're looking forward to reaching new goals. So we have this temporal or time landmark, right? That we have this before and after. We have this specific time where the past things that we did, maybe we didn't do things exactly like we wanted. Maybe we weren't perfect, but I can just kind of wipe that away and look forward to the new year and have that time frame before and after. So the past stuff is a little less impactful. I'm feeling renewed and ready to go, right? It has a mental gap in between the past self and the future self. My past self might have made mistakes, but my future self has got a goal, got a plan. I'm going to make this happen. I'm capable of change, and that natural landmark is going to help me create that before and after. I have an increased self-confidence because I believe I can make change. I've got this new motivation, this new goal, and I feel that I can do it. I'm committed to it, and I'm just ready to go, full of energy and ready to go. I have this shifted focus. I'm looking at my big picture goal. I'm not looking at, it was really tough to get through the holidays, really tough to get through Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever we do. I was just getting through day to day, paycheck to paycheck. I can put that behind me and now look at this big picture and what I want to accomplish for the new year, right? So I can capitalize on that fresh start, capitalize on the beginning of the year, but I can also use that in a smaller way, right? We're thinking about this brand new year. I can also use that fresh start effect more often. Maybe I can do it on a quarterly basis and check in. Maybe I can do it on a monthly basis and check in more often. So I give myself more of an opportunity to use that fresh start effect to check in on my goals, right? I can create small, achievable steps that are going to help me achieve that. And I can kind of forgive myself for the past mistakes. Even if that past mistake was a week ago, each Monday is a brand new, fresh start. I can let that past mistake be in the past and look forward to what I want to accomplish. So I can use this fresh start effect more often than just the beginning of the year and use that to reach those goals. I'm going to accept the challenge of what I've done and what I want to accomplish and move forward, right? Because we set intentions. We always have good intentions. Beginning of the year, we set those resolutions, like people who go to the gym and they usually go for 2 or 3 months. You don't want to go to the gym in January and February because everybody's got these new, resolutions and they're all gung ho and excited. And after 3 or 4 months, time gets in the way, things pop up, injuries pop up, the motivation isn't there anymore, and those good intentions only go so far, right? So I want to save more. I want to get out of debt. I want to retire early. I want to improve my credit score. I want to do all of these things, but without a structure in place, I'm less likely to stick to it. If I have set steps that I'm going to follow, I'm going to be more likely to follow through and more likely to actually achieve this goal that I've set for myself. So going back to the exercise, I want to share this little story for you. I think it's a very good example of how writing things down, intentional goal setting, having clarity and action steps are going to help you. So there was a study where they had participants were split into 3 groups. And the goal was they're going to exercise 2 times a week for 2 weeks. So 4 times to exercise, just 14 days. The first group was just given this goal, 2 days a week, 2 weeks, come back in 2 weeks, and then they were let go. The second and third group were pulled into a room and they were given the benefits of exercise. So it's going to give you mental clarity. It's going to make your heart feel better. You're going to feel better. It's just overall a good thing, right? And then that second group was let go. The third group was given an extra step. They were told to write down the days and the times that they were going to stick to this goal, this task that they had to complete. So in the chat, I want you guys to write down, after they came back in 2 weeks, what do you think the percentage of that first group was that completed that step? Throw that in the chat. How much of a percentage do you think people kept 2 days a week for 2 weeks? What's the percentage of people in that first group that you think kept that group? Travis has got an answer in. He doesn't have a lot of faith in people there. 20%, 10%, 5%. It's a little bit higher. So it was 35. Troy has a lot of faith in his fellow human being. I'm impressed with 75%. I wish, but it was 35%. So only 35% of the people in that first group worked out for 2 days a week for 2 weeks. Now, the second group that was given those benefits, in the chat, what do you think the percentage? So it was 35% for the first group. What do you think the percentage was for the second group? They were just given the benefits, told how much it was going to help them. What do you think the percentage was for that one? Yeah, again, it was only 38%, you guys, 3% higher when they were given the benefits. So even knowing how good it was going to be for them, even knowing how good your goal is going to be for you, if we only are told about how it's going to help you, it doesn't really make a huge difference, right? Now, the people who wrote it down, what do you think in the chat? What do you think the percentage of people who kept that? Brilliant's got it. 91% stuck to that goal. 91%, right? Just by writing things down. I think that shows how much of an impact writing it down and having that in front of you is going to be helpful, right? So setting a specific time, a specific day, a specific amount is going to help you achieve that goal. Good intentions is only going to take you so far. If you have a lack of clarity in the details, you're much more likely to fall back into those old bad habits, and you may not be able to overcome the obstacles that are keeping you from achieving those goals. So we want detailed plans and ways to overcome those obstacles so you can make that happen. So talked about that. Let's talk about how to set a SMART goal, right? So SMART goals are going to help you take this vague idea. I want to save more. I want to pay off debt. I want to be more specific in that goal. I want to be able to measure my progress. I want to make sure I can actually achieve it. It's attainable with my cash flow. And it has to really matter to you. That's the relevant. It has to really matter to you because if it doesn't matter, you're not going to do the things you need to do to make that goal a reality. And I also want a time frame so I can measure my progress. Have I achieved it or not? I want to have check-in times on this one. So we're going to start with, this specific. When we talk about setting a SMART goal, specifically, what do you want to do? I want to save more. Okay, that's awesome. I put $10 in a savings account next month. Is that what you meant? Or I want to save at least 1 month of expenses, or I want to save at least $1,000 in my emergency fund. Specific amount so I know exactly what I need to do, right? The measurement is how do I measure that progress? Is there a time? Is there an amount? What can I do to measure that progress on a monthly basis so I can make sure I'm on track with that? The attainable is it a goal that I actually can achieve? I have people come in all the time and they say, I have $10,000 in debt. I want to pay it off in 1 year. Awesome. Like, let's get out of paying 25% because I borrowed this money. I want to get away from paying that interest. How do I do that? So $10,000 a year, that's $833 more a month going towards debt. Is that attainable with my current cash flow? That's a really big amount. And if I'm already in debt, that's usually because I'm living beyond my income. So coming up with another $833, that's a lot of money, right? So maybe instead of 1 year, I'm going to make this more achievable. If I say 3 years, that's only $277 a month. Okay, that's $140 every 2 weeks. That's $70 a week. I could probably do that, right? That's a little more attainable and it's going to be easier for me to do that. So one of the things people do with goals is they set these absolutely unattainable goals, right? And like $20,000 in debt in 1 year, that's really hard to do. And you're more likely to fail when you set goals that are really hard to achieve. Now, you could do it, right? So this comes to the relevancy. If it's something that you really want, you're like, no, gung ho, I want to pay off that $10,000 in debt. There are ways I could do it, right? So let's see in the chat, what are some ways that you guys can think of that I can increase income or decrease expenses if I really wanted to get an extra $833 because I want that debt gone? What are some ideas? Let's brainstorm and think about ways we can make that happen, right? So if I'm going to go with one way, maybe I'm living in a 1 bedroom place and in San Diego, rent is really, really high. Get another job. Travis, excellent. 12 months. I can do anything for 1 year and be completely debt free if I really wanted to do that, right? That is definitely a way that I can make that happen. And it's only 12 months, 365 days. How fast has this past year gone for you? In 1 year, I can have that goal if I really wanted it. That would be a really good way of doing it, right? I could go into a family plan for my cell phone. I could research my auto insurance. I could cancel all my streaming services. I could not take a vacation this year. I could go from a 1 bedroom to a 2 bedroom and share the rent. I can go from a 2 bedroom to a 1 bedroom. I could rent a room. There are always ways if it really matters to you. One of my favorite stories, yeah, so eat meals at home, save up entertainment, reasonable smaller car, fantastic ideas. Thank you so much for sharing that stuff, you guys. If you really want it, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So if that goal is relevant to you and it's your heartfelt going to make it happen, you are going to do whatever it takes, right? And then the time frame, being able to measure that progress, have that, how long do you need to achieve it? When is that last date? I'm going to check in every 3 months to see, am I on track? I also like to add another R, smarter. I like to reward myself when I've achieved. I'm very reward driven. So if I have a little reward, I've achieved this goal, I'm going to give myself this reward. So if my goal is to be debt free in 1 year and I achieve that goal, I'm going to take that $833 that I had going towards that goal. The next month, I'm going to go do something really awesome. Maybe it's a smaller goal. Maybe my goal is to pay off one credit card for $1,200 in 1 year. That's $100 a month. So maybe the next month I take $100 and I go get a massage, or I go buy some new books, or I do something just to recognize that awesome achievement. And then I create new goals and I create a new reward and I create and I keep going forward, right? So always checking in with yourself, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely. That's how you create goals that will actually be achievable. People set goals all the time. They're just not realistic. They're not measuring it. Like, I just want to save. Okay, that's great. Ooh, how much do you want and by what time, right? So setting up those goals are going to help you. And I do have handouts that I will share with you guys if you want to reach out to me. I have a ton of handouts that I have on this one, so I can share that with you on different ways to create the SMART goal. The SMART goal worksheet kind of goes in step by step to really help you achieve that. So reach out to me. I will be happy to share that with you guys. So financialfitness@calcocu.org. That's where you email. I'll be happy to share that with you guys. So how do we convert those dreams to goals? I want to go in again and talk about how to set this up. Is there a specific amount that I need to achieve that goal? Is there a time frame that I can measure that progress? How will I know when I've achieved this goal, right? So I want you to sit down at the end of this in the next 2 days, write down your specific measurable attainable goals. Write down 1 to 2 financial goals, and then think about, have you set this goal for yourself before? What kept you from achieving it? What were those obstacles to that success? List them out and then go into each of those obstacles and write down, brainstorm some ways to overcome them, right? So maybe the obstacle was I got injured, okay? And that's realistic. Things happen. I got injured. I was in a car accident and I was having $500 a month that was going towards my physical therapy. Now, if I'm doing $500 a month, that's really hard to achieve those other goals. So maybe I have to reevaluate, look at that, and maybe defer that. But if I really want to achieve it, I might look for some other ways to make that happen. But I want to look at what those numbers look like and write those obstacles down. And what are my options, right? If I am having difficulty because I keep spending the money in my savings account, let's look at what's pulling the money out of the savings account. What are we spending money on? Maybe it's just a lack of awareness of what my needs are or even my wants. So if I track my expenses and I'm spending $250 a month on meals out, is that helping me achieve my goal? If it's not, why am I doing it? Is there something I can do differently? And maybe I can change that and take 200 of that and put it towards that goal, right? So having that awareness of the obstacles, what's keeping me from achieving it, how can I make it happen? Why does this matter to you, right? If you have something that matters to you, again, you're going to do whatever it happens. So make sure you write down your why. I think that's really important to check in. And then I can look at my spending and, is this helping me achieve my goal? If it's not, why am I doing it? Dive a little deeper. Is there anything I can do differently, right? I think that's really helpful. So converting those dreams, those wants into something that's really going to happen, I need to understand what's keeping me from achieving it. And I have a lot of great ways to help you overcome some of those obstacles. And I want you to have this as a resource because life happens, right? You're going to have unexpected expenses. You're going to have fluctuating income. You're going to have something that pops up that you're going to want to do that might pull you away from these goals that you've set for yourself. We want to achieve the goals, but this something comes up and you want that too. How do we do that, right? So we're going to evaluate, reset, adjust. It's not a rigid rule book, right? This budget that you've created, it doesn't have to be, you've got to do this every single month. I can adjust it if I'm paying attention to the bottom line. So let's talk about some solutions to overcome the obstacles so you can move through the challenges that you have with confidence. So the first one we have is irregular income, right? We have a lot of people who have jobs where you get more income one month, less income another month. If you're working on commission, things like that. A lot of people struggle when that income varies. They get, $10,000 in one month and then nothing the second month. How do we even that out? Because we get 10,000, it's gung ho, let's go shopping. And then 10,000, I'm struggling. I want to make sure we even that out, right? So the idea is give yourself a baseline budget. Like look at what you've earned this past year. This is where we go and look at that past year. What was our average income? And have that as your baseline income. so that if I make more, if I use $5,000 as my plan and I make 10,000, I'm still going to use 5,000 as my monthly budget, take that out of 5,000, throw it in my savings account to help me get through the month when I don't have any income, right? Build a buffer into your plan. If I have $5,000 in income, I want to plan $4,500 as my budget so I can take that $500 and throw that into my savings account to help protect me from the days I don't get as much. Treat any income that you get above your plan as that buffer, throw it in. You want to have at least 6 months of expenses in a savings account to help yourself when you have a regular income, right? So get that holding account, put the money in there. So the months that you don't get the income, we have that to help smooth that out and regulate it and create a realistic plan for you, right? Unexpected expenses. I love this category because honestly, there are things that are going to pop up in your life that you didn't plan for, like a flat tire, or I was hiking and I fell and I dislocated my shoulder. I had a ton of, shoulder surgery out of work. There are things that are going to happen. But there are also things that are normal life expenses that I want you guys to include in your plan. So setting, car repairs, medical bills, home fixes, they're stressful, yes, but it's inevitable. They're not unexpected. So I want to make sure we're planning for the unexpected because we do actually expect that you're going to have car repairs. We do expect that nothing in your home is going to last forever. You're going to have to replace the washer and dryer and the water heater. You're going to have to replace your computer and your cell phone. These are normal life expenses. So create sinking funds. So we're putting money aside every single pay period to cover the tires I've got to get in 3 years, right? Automate your transfer. So if I have $1,000 a year for my auto repairs, it's $42 a week for me. As soon as I get paid, I want that fund automatically transferred. So I'm building that auto repair savings account and I'm preparing myself for those known expenses that are coming. It's not unexpected that these unexpected things are going to happen, right? But even the unexpected, like pandemics, you can't really plan for that. But if you have 6 months of expenses set aside, we can get through those unexpected events, hopefully a little less unscathed than we were before. Even a small cushion is going to help reduce that financial stress for you and make life so much easier, right? Let's talk about the motivation. The motivation dips, the enthusiasm for reaching these goals may fade, especially when you get this new year, looking forward. Then we get back into those old habits. We have to go back to the why. And I think that's really important when you're setting SMART goals. Why do you want to accomplish this goal? I want you to write that down too, because I want to go back and revisit that anytime I feel my motivation is fading. Like, why did I set this up in the beginning? What is it going to do for me? And I can kind of check in on that and, okay, I'm going to do this and have that fresh start mentality every single time I check in. If I'm checking in monthly, fresh start every month, that's going to help keep that enthusiasm going. I can also break my goals into smaller milestones so I feel that progress sooner. So $10,000 a year towards debt is $833 a month, is $208 a week, right? I used to spend that on meals out all the time or streaming services. But $208 seems a lot easier for my mind to accept than $10,000. That's a lot of money. So breaking it down into smaller amounts, and again, at the end of a month, did I pay $833? I checked that off. Awesome. Give myself a little reward. Maybe I'll go get a coffee or something, right? So I can keep that motivation building with that fresh start every single week. Using visual trackers. I'm a very visual person. So I have that written out goal, paste it on my computer, paste it in my car, paste it at home. Every time I go anywhere, I'm seeing that goal to remind myself of what I'm trying to accomplish, right? So having those systems in place are going to help keep you motivated, keep you going, and actually help you achieve that goal. Another thing that happens is people have too many goals, right? They want to save more. They want to retire earlier. They want to pay off the debt. They want to go on vacation. They want to replace the roof on their house. They want to get a pool. It's overwhelming. Like, how do we go and do everything everywhere all at once? You really can't. When you take everything, write everything down, that might not be possible, right? So choose one primary financial goal to focus on for the next 90 days, right? Rank your goals when you write everything down, write down all those goals. what is the most important and urgent? What's going to make the most impact for you? And write down the must do, should do, could do method to simplify. You can see all these little, the next slide we have is how to prioritize goals. It's writing them all down and figuring out what's the most important. So having that focus on one or two at a time. And then as you complete them, we throw some more goals into there, right? So break it down into the prioritizing things. Emotional spending is one thing that's really going to keep you from achieving the goals if they're financial goals. So we do have some ways, identify what your personal spending triggers are. If it's 10 o'clock at night and you're getting ready for bed and you're bored and you're scrolling through Amazon or Poshmark or Etsy, kind of look at what's causing that trigger. Maybe every time I get off the phone with a family member, I'm stressed and I've got to go shopping, or I got to go out and get, go out with my friends and have a meal or something. So what's causing that trigger? Identify that. One of my favorite ways to help overcome the emotional spending is give yourself that 24-hour pause. So if I'm on Amazon, I'm scrolling like, oh, this is really cute. I really want this. I'm going to wait, put that into my save for later, give myself 24 hours, and I'm going to come back to it. And that will help overcome that get it now gremlin, right? I don't need to have that right now. Is it a want or a need? Is it helping me achieve my goal? If it's not, why am I doing it? Can I do something differently? Do I really need that right now? Or how badly do I want to achieve that goal? That sometimes can help overcome that emotional spending, right? The other one is add friction. Unsubscribe from any type of businesses that are sending you emails 30% off, sale today, get it now, and giving you all these impulse. They want you to give into that impulse. Get out of those emails. Delete any saved credit cards that you have on any websites. PayPal was on everything, and it was so easy just to put it in the cart and click. Delete that PayPal from everything. And now you actually have to get up and go get the credit card. Sometimes that's enough to stop me from buying whatever that thing was. If I have to sitting in my chair and I have to get up across the room to go get my credit card, I really don't need it that badly, right? I'm going to wait, I'll worry about it later. And sometimes that is just enough to keep me from giving into that impulse. Time and is something that we just want to give yourself, that lack of time or energy. So busy schedules, right? Financial tasks are just like one more thing, it's more overwhelming. So find ways to make this easier. So financial tasks, make it a 10-minute check-in once a week. Automate as much as you can. So don't go in where you have to manually transfer, manually make payments. Automate that. Keep that system minimal so it's easier to maintain, because that consistency is going to be easier than I have to check in and do things manually, transfer, pay the bill, do this. If you automate things, it's going to be a lot easier. The lack of family support, or there's a partner misalignment in how we're spending money. Money habits differ. We're raised certain ways, and we carry what we learned from the way we were raised into relationships, and we might be raised completely different ways, right? So that can create friction. So I think it's really important to set check-ins, whether you do it weekly or monthly, that we come together, we just check in. And also having those goals, like what I do when I do our one-on-ones, if there's a group, two people in, is I'll have each partner complete their own set of SMART goals, and then without talking to each other, and then we come together in the next meeting and we find where where the goals are that align together, and we focus on that as a priority. So we're both working on one goal. There might be other things that are there, but I want to have one that we're working towards together, and then we're checking in regularly to see how are we doing, are we working towards this, and just make sure we're on track with that. We're focusing on teamwork, not blaming the other person for spending all the money. Okay, what's causing that? There's a why in what they're doing. So what is the trigger for them? Let's recognize that and come up and brainstorm some ways to overcome that, because that shared goal is going to help you guys work together and really create that unity and actually make that happen. The last thing we talk about is fear. I don't even want to look at my finances. I don't want to look at how much I owe, because avoidance is really common, especially if you're behind on things or you're maxed out on credit cards, you're struggling paycheck to paycheck. So start with little small steps. Like we break things down into smaller steps. Check one balance, list one bill, review one category, right? There's no shame. There's no guilt. I'm not going to blame myself for things I did before. This is what I want to accomplish. This is an action item you can take to help overcome the obstacles and reach those goals one thing at a time, right? Focus on progress. Even one little baby step forward is progress. You're not going to be perfect in one 30-day window. We can make progress every single time we check in. Even if I've paid $10 towards my debt, I'm still making progress, right? So I'm going to look at that. Facing the numbers is that first step. I can't keep avoiding it. I can't create a plan to overcome it if I don't know what it looks like, right? So just do it, and we're here to help you. We have a free service that will help you in each of these steps. So reach out to us. So we talk about those goals. How do we prioritize them? We have more goals than time or money, right? So we can't tackle all at once. How do we see which one is going to make the biggest difference? So what goal is urgent, right? What's a short term or long term? What is going to happen if you don't achieve that goal? What has the biggest impact and what can wait? So anything with a deadline or a penalty for not completing said goal goes to the head of the list, right? And then thinking about the long-term effect. If I am not contributing to my 401k and I get a match, that is a huge impact on my future self. Huge. So I want to make sure that I'm taking advantage of those things that are helping me. And I'm going to look at the things that aren't helping me and look at my goals and prioritize, right? I also like looking at what is a want versus a need. So I'm going to go through, we recommend that you write everything down. I'm going to go through that list and say, okay, is this a want or a need? Is this helping me achieve my goal? My favorite question, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't spend this money? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if I cancel Amazon Prime? Oh no, I'm not going to be able to watch Wheel of Time anymore. Right? Or I don't have access to my music. I can survive. I have lots of free services, right? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you don't pay your cell phone bill? That's kind of important. That's kind of a need. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't put money into my vacation fund? I go 365 days without taking a vacation. I'm okay with that. I'll do a little staycation on the weekend. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you don't have an emergency fund and you get injured and can't work? And you can't pay your rent and you can't pay your cell phone and you can't pay SDG&E. So prioritize that want versus need, kind of go through and like, this is a want, this is a need. And if I can defer or suspend anything that's a want and focus on the needs until I reach my goal, right? So concentrating efforts on one goal at a time, monitoring the progress, again, checking in every week, every month. What's a want? Is a need? What am I doing? Is this helping me? And just keep doing that. That's going to help prioritize that goal for you and turn that goal into something that actually gets achieved. I love this concept of habit strategies because habits, we get into these bad habits that keep us from achieving our goals. Like they slide back into, like I was spending $250 a month on meals out. I was like, oh, I want to go on vacation. 200 of that's going to go into my vacation. Now I only got $50 for meals out, but I really want to go to Soup Plantation. I mean, luckily that's gone. I'm saving a lot of money there. But Soup Plantation, I really want to go, and that's $40 if I take me and my daughters. I can slide back into that. We were going every single Sunday, or I can stop and figure out ways again to make that goal, create new habits. So it doesn't have to be complicated, right? There are simple budgets. There's a one called 50-30-20 where I have this handout for you guys that talks about different types of debt budgeting methods. The 50-30-20 budget divides income into three categories: 50% for essential living expenses like rent, utilities, 30% for lifestyle choices, and then 20% for savings. Now, if we live in San Diego, that might not work for you. So 50% of your income you might need 60%, 70% even for paying rent, which leaves you less for the other things, right? So just be aware, map out your spending. The goal isn't to have, again, perfection. It's to know where the money is going so you can make adjustments that help support your goals. So once we've got a plan in place, we've written everything down, we want to talk about ways we can stick to those new goals. So habit stacking, right? So this is called attaching a new financial habit to something you already do automatically. So example, you check your morning email when you wake up. Maybe at that time, I'm also going to review yesterday's spending or track it and write it in my tracking sheet. I maybe every single payday, I transfer money to my savings before I do anything else. So I pull up and I check how much I got paid. I automatically do my transfers. So your brain already recognizes the existing routine. There's a neurological pathway for that habit. So stacking another small habit in there is a lot easier, less effort. Your mind says, oh, we're just going to add this little thing in there, and that is easier to set that new habit. The triggers and the routines, the automation, setting $5 at the beginning of every single week, tiny habits are going to help you achieve it. So review that budget every Friday before you go out and spend for the weekend. Those small wins are going to help you stick to that plan, right? I'm a big fan of automating. That removes your work from the equation. I have automatic transfer to my savings account. I have automatic bill pay, so everything gets paid on time. Automatic retirement contributions, so that money grows. I don't see it. If you do it without thinking about it, it's a set it and forget it, and that is going to help you achieve those goals, right? So if my goal is to pay my debt off, then I'm going to set a minimum payment automatically going to whatever debt I'm targeting. That's going to help me achieve that goal more quickly. And then the money's gone. I've got to live on what's left over. Um, the sharing a goal with someone creates accountability. We're more likely to stick to habits when someone else knows about it. Like, hey, how are you doing on that goal? We check in on each other. That's going to help us stick to that goal, right? Join a financial wellness group. Use a budgeting app that sends reminders. Talk to someone who's going to check in and add that gentle pressure and encouragement and recognition, right? How are you doing? Yeah, I actually paid $800 towards my goal this month. Awesome. That's so cool. That's another way of creating that recognition. Tracking the progress, use a simple checklist, celebrate even small streaks. I did it for 1 month. Awesome. Let's do something, go get that coffee, buy a new book, whatever, that I can celebrate that. And that makes you feel good because we are fans of the dopamine. I want to do something, reward myself, get all happy about it. I'm going to be more likely to stick to that, right? I love the celebrating the small wins. Treat yourself to something small, meaningful. It doesn't even have to cost anything. Maybe it's, okay, I reached this goal. I'm going to go and I don't know, I play volleyball, so I'll go play volleyball someplace, although I do that all the time. So, but something small, right? I'm going to go to the library, get a new book. I'm going to go down to the beach and just have a beach day. Something small, doesn't have to cost any money. Acknowledge the progress. And that reward helps your brain associate that habit is something that you enjoy, which we like to achieve goals too. So we're not talking about how to achieve that goal, right? Building your budget, I have a really cool spreadsheet that we help our members complete during the financial fitness coaching. So we plug in income up here. So that's identifying the income sources. We're going to go fit anything we have a due date on is my fixed monthly expenses. We have the variable expenses, gas, groceries, meals out. We have the debt section. I'm going to write down the minimum payment in this yellow column. I'm going to identify, I have this list now of everything that I have. I can go back and see, just write down, is this a want or a need? Auto insurance is a need. I'm going to look at Spotify. That's a want. So if I'm looking at how I can open that money up, the cash flow up, I'm going to go through here and maybe I can suspend Spotify for 6 months and put that money towards whatever my goal is, right? I'm going to look for ways to reduce in every single category once I have my budget planned out, right? I can have that. I can go auto insurance. Okay, maybe I'm spending $250 a month on auto insurance. I've been with them for 5 years. Maybe I can call and compare 3 or 4 different places. I don't know, guys, if you guys know this, but as a CalCoast member, you actually get a 5% discount with Wawanesa Insurance. So call Wawanesa, hey, I'm a CalCoast member. What would the cost be? Maybe I can cut this down by $500 and get this down to $200. That gives you $50 more I can put towards my goal, $600 a year. That's significant. And if I do that with all of my expenses, that can really help you. I have a fantastic handout on tons of ways to reduce expenses. Happy to share that with you as well. So just email me at the end of this at financialfitness@calcocu.org. I'm going to type that in here. Financialfitness@calcocu.org. I will send you the PowerPoint. I will send you the handouts. I will send you everything you want. And again, if you want to schedule a meeting, you can use that and we'll get that set up. Okay. Suggestions. We're almost to the end of this, you guys. So much information. How to automate things, how to improve that cash flow more. We talk about the paying yourself first. This is doing the savings first, right? So putting the money aside for the emergency, putting the money aside for your goal, putting the money aside for the sinking funds so that I can plan ahead for my home expenses, my retirement expenses, vacation expenses, car expenses, fun expenses. Have that money set aside first. And then name that account that gives that money a purpose. I don't touch my auto repair savings unless it's an auto repairs expense. So I'm less likely to use that money because I have auto expenses, right? If I automate that every single week or every single pay period, I have that automatic transfer into that account. It's going to grow. When I need to buy tires in 3 years, I've got the money that I need. I love the thirds method or the fourths method. Thirds method is I get some money in my account, or I get through the end of the month and I've got $500 left over. The thirds method is I'm going to take a third of it, put it towards my savings. I'm going to take a third of that and make an extra payment towards the debt that I'm targeting. And I'm going to take that other last third of it and go have a good time, judgment-free, reward myself for sticking to your plan. You could do the fourth method. The fourth method is a fourth to my debt, a fourth to my emergency savings, a fourth to do whatever I want, and a fourth to my goal, which might be debt, might be vacation savings, might be emergency, but you're going to reach all those goals faster when you use that third or fourth method. The other thing I like to do is every time you get a raise, you lived the whole year on that previous income that you had. So let's not increase my spending right away to take advantage of all the money that new money that I'm getting. Let's give my goals a raise too. And I like to do that with my retirement planning. If I get a 3% raise, I'm going to increase my retirement plan by 1%. I still have 2% more than I had last year. And I can look at how to use that towards my goals. Third method, fourth method, whatever, right? So I think that's really helpful to continue building momentum towards reaching those goals. And seeing that savings grow is going to keep you motivated. So really every single month, you're going to see that savings go up. It's really an easy way of sticking to that. So let's bring all of this together. So your action plan for the next 90 days. Set your goals. Use the goal. Find things online or email me. I'll send you what I have. Create 1 or 2 SMART goals for you to focus on. And then break it down into look at your budget. Set up some small steps to make that happen. Create those reminders, create the accountability, keep those goals in the forefront of your mind, and check in regularly to make sure that you're sticking to it. And if you need help, we are here. Again, financial fitness is a completely free benefit and membership with a credit union. I am happy to help you guys get your plans set up, right? There are other resources for you. We at Cal Coast Credit Union, since we're founded by teachers, financial education is hugely important to us. You don't even have to be a member to take advantage of our free financial wellness platform called Enrich. If you go to our website, search Enrich, you create a money personality profile, it will give you articles, tools, resources, information on every category that you can think of regarding finances, including some ways to help you set goals, right? So highly recommend you guys go do that one. And then for the YouTube, we record these, put them on our YouTube page. We have a ton that we've done in the past that can help you with creating the budget, with improving your credit score, buying a home, buying a car, investing, really great information there. And then if you want to take advantage of the free financial fitness service, I just want to give you a heads up. I don't have anything really available until March, but I can help you get that plan going sooner rather than later. If you want to scan the code or click on the link, that will take you to our website and you can schedule one-on-one. First meeting is about an hour and a half long, and we'll go over and talk about all this fun stuff. So a couple of comments we had in here I want to talk about. To create the infrastructure for each of these events, don't you have to have different accounts or sub accounts? I actually have 7 different savings accounts titled here at California Coast Credit Union. So if you have a bank or credit union someplace else, check to see if they have that at no fee. We don't charge extra fees for the individual sub savings. And I have an auto repair savings. I have a vacation fund savings. I have a health and beauty savings. So I have $100 copay when I go go to the ER. I have $100. I can pay that. I have copays for my glasses and my contacts. I set the money aside for the health and beauty. I have a home savings. So when I need to buy a cell phone, buy a computer, replace my sofa, that kind of stuff, I'm putting money aside. Again, that money has a purpose. And I have an automatic transfer the day after I get paid going into each of those accounts because I've created that account. And I'd be happy to share that. So if you email me, I will have your email and I can send the PowerPoint and all these handouts that we've covered over to you. Happy to share that with you. I love to help people reach their financial goals. I will provide all the tools that I can for you to help you do that. So any questions about anything we've talked about today?
Taralyn,
Was
we
this
have a couple
helpful?
in the Q&A, it looks
Okay,
like.
bring it on.
Okay, the first one we have is, can I open a Roth IRA through Calcos to grow my money? How do I do it and what is my max?
So the Roth IRA, we have IRA savings here at Cal Coast, but it's based on the savings rates, which aren't really high right now. So I would recommend talking to a financial advisor. You do get a free consultation at California Coast Credit if you want to set that up. If you actually go, it is investing. They do have some fees. They will disclose that before you sign up for that. And the amount that you are investing is going to change every single year. They increase it every single year and is you kind of based on income. I would go and reach out to the financial advisor. So I do budgeting, credit coaching, paying off debt, the advising on investing. That's going to be the financial advisors. You want to talk with them about what you can contribute. Now, one thing I will say is if you have credit card debt that you're paying over 15% on the interest rates, I want you to pay off the debt first because it's an automatic return on your income. If I pay off a debt that I'm paying 15, 20, 30%, there's no guaranteed rate of return that you can earn on any investments, right? So I want you to pay off the debt and then focus on that. So I will say that up front is that I want you to pay off the high interest rate debt first, then focus on the retirement. I do want you paying towards that as soon as you can. Um, so I have a comment, recommend right sizing federal tax withholding several times a year. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So the federal tax withholding, I'm a really big fan of not having more withheld than you need to. Because I use this example, if you are getting $5,000 back in your federal tax returns, if you estimate you're going to spend $100 at the grocery store and you go and you only owe $50 and you have coupons and gift cards, you only owe $50. And you hand your $100 bill to the cashier and they say, okay, thank you very much. I'll give you your change back next year, right? You would not go back to that grocery store because you want to spend the money. That's your money. You want it back. That's all tax returns are. So if you're getting back more than $2,000, we do recommend looking at what's being withheld from your income, looking at what you actually owed and making that adjustments to get the money back. Because if you're having $500 a month withheld for federal taxes and you're paying 23, 25, 30% on your credit cards to get through to pay for normal expenses, you're not earning any dividends on your federal tax. They're not giving you anything for that, and it's costing you money. So if you're getting back more than 2,000, we do recommend either talking to a tax advisor, using that link. We use the IRS tax withholding calculator. If you do a search for that, it will give you an estimate of what you're going to owe. You also have this last year when you file your taxes, it's going to show you how much you owed. So I want you to look at your pay stub and get that closer. So I don't want you to owe, but I don't want you getting back more than $2,000 in tax returns. Other questions?
We do have another one from Angelica. She said, hi, I hope you're having a great day. I am a Social Security recipient. How much would you recommend putting away in savings for people who are on Social Security? Also, for someone who is on Social Security, what does it look like? Or what does requesting a loan look like? I really want to buy and invest in my first home in the next 3 to 4 years, and I want to start saving. Thank you so much. Happy New Year's.
I love it. Thanks for all those questions. So, what you save is going to be based on what your goals are, right? What your income, what your expenses are. So, when we talk about emergency savings, We're talking about what is 1 month of your expenses, and that can vary, on an annual basis. So once you write everything down in your budget, that's going to give you an idea of what your monthly expenses are. Work on getting 1 month right away. That's really important to have that cushion. Gives you a little financial freedom. I don't need to stress if I get injured, don't get income. Social Security, you're going to keep getting in, but I want to make sure that I have enough set aside that I can keep paying my bills. Also, what is my goal? Do I want to be a homeowner? Do I want to buy a property? Do I want to take a vacation? What do you want to do? That's going to drive what you can save. And then looking at that budget is going to see what you can, what's attainable for you. So, writing down your budget, writing down some specific goals, figuring out how much you can afford by plugging it into the budget. Can I save $400 a month? Can I save 500? If I want to save 500, what can I reduce in my spending so I can actually achieve that goal? So each of those steps, writing down that budget, writing down your goals, is it attainable, making adjustments, those are all going to help you create that plan, create the savings, and get where you want to be.
Great. Thank you so much, Taralyn, for that. We have another question from Mark saying, as a part of your services, do you review when to start taking your Social Security?
Um, Not so much, but I'm a big fan of taking it as soon as we can, if we can. There's no guarantee right now that Social Security is going to be there. So I don't have any recommendations, but we're going to look at, do I need the money right now? Right? If I'm struggling financially right now and that money is going to help me right now, I might want to take it sooner. So that's going to go to each individual person. Let's look at the expenses, look at the goals, let's look at what that cash flow looks like. What can we do it without that? If we don't need it, then I want to save it and do it a little bit later. But if I need it, then I might want to get that started sooner. So everybody's situation is different. There's no set time.
Amazing. And then the last question that I see here is from Danny. He said, what is a good stock to invest in to increase finances?
So I am not allowed to give financial advice on stocks and investing. So I do use Yahoo Finance and Robinhood to research the different types of stocks and mutual funds that are out there. I'm going to look at the rate of return over the past year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I want to get something, the average rate of return is about 10%. But if you go research different stocks and look at what it's done over the history, I'm going to go and what's going to be around for a while. So some things that you can think about is, what things are going to be around for a while, what makes you happy, what do you want to invest funds into, look at that rate of return, look at the history, look at who's managing the funds, are they going to be around for a while? Those are all things that you can do. And I have a couple of handouts on ways that can help you choose stocks, choose an advisor, just things to look for. But I can't tell you what's a good one for you to invest in because we're not allowed to get that kind of advice. But I can support you with resources to help you make that decision.